Today I'm going to prepare my fabulous Festive Zucchini Lasagna dinner. Now this menu features fresh zucchini picked right from the garden, and it's deliciously authentic tasting with a healthy twist.
Jazzy, you're going to be healthy with the Jazzy vegetarian. Jazzy, so snazzy. We're going to cook something healthy and light. Jazzy, so snazzy.
So join me in the kitchen right now.
We're gonna cook something healthy and light. That's right.
Today I'm going to prepare one of my absolutely favorite dishes, and that's my Festive Zucchini Lasagna, which is a delicious dish with a healthy twist. I'm going to show you how to make zucchini noodles. And then our first course is a simple to make but fancy to serve Carrot and Orzo Soup. I think you're going to love that. And then to finish off the meal with a flourish, raspberry Maple Tofu Whip, served with beautiful organic berries. This tasty menu is all vegetarian, so let's prepare it now. This is something I came up with a couple of years ago when I was having a New Year's Day potluck with some friends, and I was supposed to bring the main dish. And we'd gone to our market and seen some beautiful zucchini, and I thought, maybe I could make zucchini noodles and make those be a layer of the lasagna. Well, it was a really, really big hit with my friends Tom and Terry and their son Michael, and I've been making it ever since. And we're going to get started now. We're going to start off with 8 ounces of baby Bella mushrooms, and you see I've just sliced them really rough chop. We're going to be making our lasagna sauce. So I'm going to take my pan and add in about 2 tablespoons of olive oil. And then I'm going to place my beautiful baby Bella mushrooms in here. Now, a lot of people put their garlic in first, but what happens is that takes away a lot of the health properties of the garlic, first of all, but it also burns very easily. So the base of any dish you're making is going to get kind of this burnt garlic taste. You don't want that. So that's why I always put other things in first, in this case, the mushrooms. And then I wait and I add the garlic as we're moving along. Oh, this is coming along beautifully. Look how these mushrooms are glistening. Now, here's my little trick. We're going to add at this point about 1 teaspoon or so of low-sodium tamari. Tamari, you say? Why are you doing that? We're not making a Japanese dish. Well, tamari just infuses some depth, some flavor. So it's a great thing to use in a lot of your recipes, and you'll see right away how the mushrooms are immediately taking on this darker golden color. Oh, that's so pretty. Oh, here it is. Reduced sodium tamari is normally found in the soy sauce or teriyaki aisle of your supermarket. Some supermarkets carry it in their ethnic foods aisle, and even some supermarkets put it in their health food aisle. So there's 3 different places that you can find tamari. People ask me, why do you use reduced sodium tamari? And the reason is that it has about 25% less sodium than regular tamari. The fermentation process for tamari is different than ordinary soy sauce, and that gives it different flavor-enhancing properties that pair well in really a lot more recipes. If you can't find it, you can just use plain tamari, just use a little less. In some cases, you can actually use soy sauce. Once again, just use a little less. And if you really can't find reduced sodium tamari at all, you can, in fact, use sea salt. Now it is time to add our 8 cloves, of garlic. Goodness, this is really going to impart some fabulous jazzy taste to this lasagna. Then I'm going to add 3 teaspoons of Italian seasoning. That is great. Place the top back on, and then we're going to add a little special twist into this lasagna. I went to my farm market yesterday. They had this beautiful basil, and this just adds another layer of flavor in this sauce. Do you see how I'm stacking them up here? Stack them up like this. Going to take it, put it on your cutting board, top side down, non-shiny side up, and roll it up. Roll it very, very tightly. And then carefully cut all the way across it. See how quickly that is going to finely chop your basil. And then just rough chop right across it. So look how beautiful that is. I'm going to set that aside. All right, let's see. Oh, Take a look at that. This smells absolutely fabulous. And you see how the tamari has kind of made it like it almost has a little meaty kind of gravy. That's what we're looking for, and this is going to add a great base for our sauce. Now we're going to add our vegetarian meat, and this is what it looks like. It comes in a little log, kind of like this. And you know what else I've used? You can use vegan meat patties or vegetarian burgers. Anything you like that is a meat analog or a meat substitute. And if you don't want to use anything fake, so to speak, in this recipe, just add twice the amount of mushrooms. So you would use 16 ounces of mushrooms in this recipe if you don't use the vegan meat. And as you can see, I'm just dropping it right in there. Now here's a little note. This lasagna freezes beautifully. So if you want to either make two when you make it or make one and then cut up half of it and freeze it, which is what I usually do. It freezes beautifully to serve at a meal later on. You see how I'm doing this? I've just broken that right in there. You can do that with your spoon if you don't want to get your hands all messy like I have. And something else that you can do is once it starts to brown a little bit, like it's browning, just use a potato masher. That's it. That's looking great. The next thing is my little jazzy trick. 2 teaspoons of organic brown sugar. And I'm just going to toss that right in there. And that's going to instantly caramelize it. So about 24 ounces of these organic crushed tomatoes. I'll just pour that right in there. And the next thing I'm going to add is, this is my little shortcut secret. I add 1 jar minus about 1 cup of my favorite vegan marinara sauce. It's a 26-ounce jar. So add everything in but 1 cup because you're going to use that at the bottom of your lasagna. Now, the crown and glory, the thing that's going to give it a real pop, the thing that's going to give it just that fabulous, jazzy, vegetarian, fresh taste is this beautiful, fresh basil. If you don't have the fresh basil, just use a little bit of dried. I've used about 1/3 to 1/2 cup of that fresh basil. When I was a little girl, my grandma would have us over for Sunday dinner, and she always set the table so beautifully, like it was being set for royalty. I would be so excited when I would come in, and quite often she would make lasagna. So this really brings me back to happy childhood memories. And we're going to let this simmer for about 20 to 25 minutes while we prepare the rest of our dish. Now we're going to get to a ricotta layer, but you're going to be surprised at what we use instead of cheese because there's no dairy. Let's get to it. Now we're going to put together the ricotta layer of our lasagna. And you may be surprised at what we're going to use here. We're going to use firm tofu. I have about 14 ounces of firm tofu, a whole block, and it usually comes in a little package with some water in it. Take it out and put it in a strainer, as I have done here, and then you're going to strain the water out of it. Let it sit for about 15 minutes, and then do as I'm doing. Just press it down to press out all the excess water. Now, look at tofu. It doesn't look very appetizing right now, does it? But let me tell you my thought on tofu. When you make an egg, you don't go to somebody and show them a raw egg and say, here, eat this. Well, it's really the same with tofu. You don't want to just hand somebody raw tofu. It's the way you prepare the egg that makes it taste good. And it's the way you prepare the tofu that makes it taste good. So once you've drained your tofu, put it into a bowl, and then we're going to use my trusty potato masher. And we're just going to start breaking it up. Now look at that. That's starting to look like ricotta cheese already. Fantastic. Now what we're going to add is 1/2 cup of chopped fresh Italian flat-leafed parsley. Toss that all in. At this point I just use a fork. Just stir that in there. About 1/8 to 1/4 teaspoon of low sodium tamari is going to add a tiny bit of sodium, no cholesterol, no dairy, of course. And you want to always buy organic, non-GMO tofu. Well, look how great that is. My ricotta layer. Now let's get on to our zucchini noodles. Now for my fantastic jazzy vegetarian zucchini noodles. They're so easy to make. And what they do is they stand in for one layer of regular lasagna noodles in this recipe. This is a nice organic zucchini I bought. And I'm going to start by slicing off one layer at the bottom. Very thin like that. Put it over here on our plate. And that way we start with a flat surface. So it's easy to cut the rest of our noodles. And all you do is take your knife and slice across. And our noodles are very thin as you can make them. But it's really easy to do. You don't have to use any kind of gadget with this. I guess you could use a mandolin if you wanted to, but this is what they look like. That's about how thick it is. That's all there is to it. You don't have to cook them. You don't have to bake them. You don't have to do anything. They're just naked zucchini. My sauce is simmering, and let's put this fabulous festive zucchini lasagna together. Well, I bet you're wondering what it is that I have here. Well, it's my lasagna noodles, and I've used whole wheat lasagna noodles. I make my lasagna noodles a day ahead of time. I undercook them a little bit, drain them very well, and then I toss them with a little bit of olive oil. And then this is what I do. I place them flat between layers of unbleached parchment paper. And that way you can put them in the refrigerator overnight and they're going to stay nice and moist. I've got 4 layers of my lasagna noodles. And then after you've put the last layer of parchment paper on the top, you want to tightly wrap it in some plastic wrap. And now we're going to start by putting our lasagna together. We're going to start off with the cup of marinara sauce that we had left over, and then about a tablespoon of olive oil. Spread that all over the bottom of your casserole dish. Now we're going to begin with our lasagna noodles. We're going to use 1/3 of our lasagna noodles in this layer. There we go with our first layer of the lasagna. Now for my fantastic lasagna sauce. We're going to take 1/3 of this sauce and just place it over the first layer of lasagna noodles. Now we're going to use all of our zucchini noodles. Just going to place them right in there. No rhyme or reason. Just place them in like you would lasagna noodles. And I'm using the equivalent of 2 medium zucchini. Now it's time for the tofu, ricotta, and the whole thing's going to go into this layer. So just pour it all out like that. Use your spatula. And at this point, we're really going to kind of press it in because we want to start compressing the lasagna together so that when it cooks, it all kind of becomes one. Now, another 1/3 of your lasagna noodles. Right there. There we go. Another 1/3 of the sauce. Look how pretty it's starting to look. Now, for our cheese. I have 2 kinds of cheese I'm using today. One is a soy-based vegan cheese. This is a mozzarella and cheddar style cheese. And I'm going to put a layer of this, about 1 cup to 1.5 cups in this layer. Now just make sure you buy vegan cheese that melts. And then here's my little trick. Wheat germ. And I'm going to add 3 tablespoons of wheat germ. That adds a little protein, adds a little taste. You're not going to taste wheat germ. It's just going to give it a little extra texture and heartiness and kind of hold this lasagna all together. Now, as you can see, I'm almost done. It's starting to overflow. But the next thing, if you have a hard time getting your family to eat greens, this is the perfect way to hide them in this lasagna. And I've just bought some baby spinach and washed it off. You don't have to chop it up or anything. Actually, it's better if you don't chop it up because the large leaves help to hold it together. And I know it looks like a lot, but you're going to take about 5 or 6 ounces of this baby spinach. Now, I know it looks ridiculous, but it's all going to cook down. Now, the next thing to hold this all into place is our last third layer of our lasagna noodles. Just place them right over the top like that. All right, great. And then the other third of my sauce. The last little bit is a little bit of this vegan mozzarella cheese. Absolutely beautiful. Just take a few dried Italian herbs. You can also take parsley if you like. A teaspoon. Just right there over the top. I'm going to tent this with foil and then make sure you put it on a very large cookie sheet because it does spill over as it cooks. Put it in a 400-degree oven for about an hour to an hour and 15 minutes till it's cooked all the way through and it's sizzling and it's ready to serve. And up next, my fantastic Maple Tofu Whip. You're going to see how beautifully that's going to come together. I'm going to show you how to make some very healthy, dairy-free Maple Tofu Whip topping. This is my raspberry Maple Tofu Whip topping, but you can make it without the raspberries if you're not doing a raspberry topping. It starts off very simply. You want to take a third of a block of soft, organic tofu, or about 5 ounces of soft tofu. And then I'm going to use a quarter to a third of a cup of almond milk. Next up, raspberries, give it a little raspberry taste, and they're also going to color it and make it a really pretty pink color. 2 tablespoons of a good quality organic maple syrup. I'm going to use a quarter of a teaspoon of vanilla. Now, next what we do is we're going to blend it until it's creamy, and that's all we do. Look how pretty that is. But that is absolutely perfect. You can always add as much maple syrup as you like. Make such a beautiful presentation. Add a little berry on the top. Organic blackberries, organic raspberries with my raspberry maple tofu whip. And now on to our very simple first course, which is my carrot and orzo soup. Now, when I serve lasagna for a festive occasion, I like to serve several courses. And the perfect pairing for this is a nice light soup, a simple vegetable soup, or in this case, I like to serve my carrot and orzo soup. Now, this soup goes way, way back. My friend Renee, when I first moved to New York, she made me this very simple soup, and I have been making it ever since. And we're going to begin with 32 ounces of vegetable broth. And to that, we're going to add half a cup of water. And I've just brought that to a simmer to give it a little bit of extra taste. 1 teaspoon of low sodium tamari. Just add that right in there. So I'm using 1 tablespoon of chopped fresh organic parsley. I'm just going to throw that right in there to give it a little bit of color. I have 1 organic scallion. And I'm just going to slice that into very little slices. And I'm going to use the white part and the green leaf for this because it makes it really, really pretty. Now, as I throw them in, you want to kind of break up those little onions a little bit. Now I have chopped up 1 large organic carrot, just a little rough chop. I'm going to put that in about 3/4 to 1 cup. And just a little something today. I have a friend who's a farmer, and he farms completely naturally. And a few days ago, he gave me these beautiful organic carrots. Got the dirt on them. You've got a little bit of an odd shape. Doesn't matter. It's straight from the garden. It's straight from the farmer. And I know for sure there were no chemicals on it. So when you're at the farm market, the nicest, most beautiful shape doesn't always mean the nicest, most beautiful taste. So keep that in mind. And the last bit of this soup, 3/4 of a cup of the orzo go in. So I'm going to let this simmer for about 20 minutes. Well, right now, we're going to get ready to take the lasagna out of the oven and plate it up, and I'm going to taste it for you. Look how beautiful this lasagna is. I've taken it out of the oven, and I've let it cool for about 15, 20 minutes. The first piece is always the hardest to get out. Ooh, there it goes. Look at those beautiful layers as I take out of there that zucchini and that spinach just peeking through. I've got a beautiful plate here, and I'm going to show you how I'm going to finish plating this up. When I was at the market yesterday, I saw these beautiful little petite asparagus. I steamed them very, very lightly, and I chilled them. You can also serve them hot, but they just make a real pretty garnish, just like that. So you don't have to be a chef to make things look pretty. Now the last little touch is I have more of this flat leaf parsley. You're just going to put that over the plate like that, and that is it. Wow, I'm so excited. Everything has come together beautifully for my festive zucchini lasagna dinner. But let's serve up our carrot and orzo soup. Isn't that beautiful? All you need to do is garnish it out. A little fresh parsley. It's so simple to make everything look elegant. You can do it at home for just pennies. I'm going to take a little taste of this because, as I said before, I absolutely love this soup. That is delicious. It's slightly sweet, slightly salty, and then the beautiful meld of that orzo and those carrots and the scallions make for an absolutely light and happy, healthy first course. Now I'm going to dig in. Woo! Now let's cut into this lasagna. Yummy! Got to get a little bit of each layer in every single bite. Wow. Taste a little bit of zucchini, but it doesn't really pop out at you. It just makes it a little bit lighter. It's not a heavy lasagna. That beautiful tofu stands in for the ricotta. Looks like it, tastes like it. I highly recommend it. Now my fantastic dessert. Take just a little spoonful of this delicious fruit and berries. That tofu whip is so light and fluffy. I want you to take one more look at that, how beautiful that is. I'd like to thank you for joining me today as I shared my fancy menu featuring my healthy makeover dish, Festive Zucchini Lasagna. So until next time, be happy, be healthy, and be well. From the Jazzy Vegetarian.
Visit our website at jazzyvegetarian.com to connect with Laura, see videos, find your favorite recipes, and more. Follow Laura on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Jazzy Vegetarian, lively vegan cuisine that's easy and delicious, includes all the recipes from this season and is available for $26.95. This 10th anniversary edition companion cookbook features full-color photos, menu plans, and over 120 recipes. For information or to order, visit jazzyvegetarian.com.
Next time on Jazzy Vegetarian, I'll prepare a bountiful brunch featuring easy-to-prepare mini biscuits. Then I'll keep brunch authentic tasting with a scrumptious no-egg scramble. Craving a super sweet breakfast treat? Cashew French toast with warm organic maple syrup and festive fruit salad is on the menu. Join me. Saturday.